You read the Bible, Brett?
Yes.
Well, there's this passage I got memorized. Sort of fits this occasion. Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and the tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who in the name of charity and goodwill shepherds the weak through the valley of darkness. For he is truly his brother's keeper and the finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is
TC and Jake.
when I lay my vengeance upon thee.
My child had her first run-in with a sick day today.
What does that mean?
Just she was, or I guess it's not first, but it seemed to especially hit hard, like in a good way. I'm slightly sick, so they won't let me go to the daycare, and I get a day at home. As you know, as a fellow attendee of her former daycare, she hates daycare.
Yeah, I heard the stories.
She really, really does poorly with daycare, and switching to the other one has not made it better. It's made it worse.
So you don't count the hand, foot, and mouth days as sick days?
No, they were.
Those are purely precautionary.
I wasn't thinking about them.
Yeah.
I guess was I just not around? Just this was the first one. I guess I don't remember the details. It was 3 weeks ago, so how could I?
Who can blame you?
But no, I have something to say about that in a second. My lack of memory, but
you'll never get back to it.
It definitely, it definitely seems like she. This is. It's whenever we started going to the daycare that Nora goes to. It was I think I described it on a podcast. Most likely, this one is no different than the reaction I would anticipate from someone being led to a gas chamber of some sort.
Yeah.
And over time, she got better. There was like a drop off where she didn't cry during the time that we could observe, so that was positive. But whenever we switch to the new one, it's just right back to it.
Yeah.
And if anything, worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel...
And so yesterday... Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was just going to say, I feel like a bad parent that after like the first couple times, Nora was like, fuck deuces.
I would love that. I know that like...
Go home. Like, hug? Can we do a hug? She's like, nah, yeah, fat chance, fuck face.
I hear what you're saying, but trust me, I know that you don't want this.
That's probably true, but I did... at least wonder, like, Kristen would text me, did she cry? Was she? I'm like, no.
Seemed hyped.
She didn't really turn back at all.
A 1-for-1 swap between, me and Miss Andrew would go well in her mind, right? No, dude, it's been I guess nothing's worse than the no sleep is just like an ongoing constant. This is the most acute, like, bad thing, where like she's letting us know that. She's in full panic. She's sure that she's going to die. That's how it looks on her face. And we're just like, nope, deal with it. It's terrible and I hate it. But so yeah, yesterday whenever we were telling, because we always try to prep her for it. That was what the people at the other place told us was helpful, is just give them lots and lots of warning, no sudden moves. Just tell them, several times the night before, hey, we're going to school tomorrow. And every time we said it last night, she was crying.
Ugh.
And so then whenever we woke up, and we're like, hey, they said your runny nose is bad enough. Because they said if it's the green gunky, we should just leave her here. And certainly it was. We're like, so you can stay here. You like that? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Always the okay.
Yeah, it feels a bit odd that we are... This is me, right? Yeah. It feels a bit odd that we're in... this era of modern medicine, where we can develop a vaccine to stamp out a global pandemic right in its tracks. And one of the best medical indications we still have is just, so what color is this shit?
Yeah.
Some more clear, yellow, green. Like, hold up the color scale thing. We forgot to do it.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
See, that was a.
I thought you were.
Well, I was. That's a double. I remembered to do it because I thought you hold that thing up, you hold up the color scale thing, and you point to which color it is. You send them a picture.
Yeah, it's the bottom green.
Right. All right. Well, stay home. Probably gonna need you to stay home.
Yeah. No. Pretty hyped about that decision. She was. I don't know, dude. Like, I definitely didn't get as much work done. Like, I was trying to send one email for like an hour because it was just constant, but it's tight. I love it. I just,
of course.
Yeah. I don't know.
If I could make the exact same amount of money and probably even whatever we pay for daycare minus 10% and never have to go to work again, and I have what Ernie Johnson calls
the Julie deal.
I have a get to job, not a got to job.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it.
Yeah.
I would still do it.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I was doing it recently, and there definitely is upside to like completing other tasks. Like I like having a job now. I do
for
not-
sure.
yeah.
But I mean, why do stay-at-home moms get to pawn their shit off on other people if stay-at-home dads can't?
Yeah,
I mean, they do it all the time, right?
I mean, I'm just saying, I led the life. I'm saying like having tasks in my job, like having work related things that I accomplish.
Okay, I thought you just meant getting anything else done.
No, no. Like doing work, for which you are compensated. It like whenever I got back to it, I mean, I'd been out for a long time. I learned that I had missed it slightly more than I anticipated, but. I think you're still right. I mean, I would miss that feeling a little bit if it went away, but probably not as much as I miss taking her to the park. I used to take her to the park every day. It was fucking dope. I loved it. I would love to do that again. So yeah, you're probably right. I don't know why I disagreed.
Yeah, I mean, for a minute there, you seem like an anti-UBI centrist.
No.
Slap you back into shape a little bit.
All the way on the left now.
So at the end of our regular episode a couple days ago. And remind me, what were we watching on YouTube?
Jungle Cruise?
The Jungle Cruise Applebee's trailer. Because sometimes we watch videos on Twitter, and I knew that wasn't what it was. So when we last spoke, the next video in YouTube's, I don't know, I think people just say algorithm here as a placeholder.
Yeah, the play next.
Was a 1988 Pizza Hut training video.
That it was.
So the audio is not really worth playing.
Okay.
But I, of course, watched the whole thing.
You watched the whole thing? I gave it a good 5 minutes, but then didn't feel like I needed more.
I watched the whole thing. And
it does rule.
On top of that, and I hate myself for doing this, I probably spent about another 30 minutes between trying to fall asleep and getting up this morning to try to get shit done, watching a ton of other video from instructional fast food restaurant training videos.
Only fast food restaurant?
This one's great, but I didn't get as far as you are.
So you asked the second
Mercedes-Benz, yeah.
Well, what do you mean by dependability?
I mean a car that starts when I want it to start, a car that doesn't spend its life in a shop. No surprises.
Once you're sure you
Great acting. Yeah, no, I didn't get this far. I click around because I'm not going to watch all this shit.
I find it captivating.
The people who were watching it like for the intended purpose found it boring. The people who made it found it boring. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but as a time capsule, it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really all there is to it. But there's a Wendy's one. It's hot.
I mean, I would assume there's one for every.
But I don't know that they're all on YouTube. Although
I think they are all.
My
on
initial
YouTube.
research would indicate that you're correct.
Yeah.
Because the one you have here, this is the 80s Mercedes-Benz sales. Up here, we've got the 90s.
Yes.
So they were pretty consistent. There's one for Chuck E. Cheese.
Of course.
But it's like an orientation video, which I guess is kind of the same, but it's, I think, a little more geared towards the Chuck E. Cheese way. There's a moment in the Pizza Hut one where...
The way Charles would do it.
Right, exactly. There's a moment in the Pizza Hut one pretty early on where... Like, they're definitely trying to spin your job making this pizza into, like, you're a creator.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're creating a pizza.
You're creating an experience, is what they say.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm like, damn, that's fucking, I feel that.
I know. You're the biggest Chuck E. Cheese pizza fan I know.
Yeah.
So how do you not see the truth of this? I think you do.
Damn, I'd love to get some tonight.
Some Pasquales.
That would be a phenomenal end to this Thursday.
Have you researched if Pasquales is on your DoorDash options?
It's not, but there's a Chuck E. Cheese very close to my house. And my wife went while I was at training camp, and I was rightfully pissed.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah, I'm like, look, I'll be home in 7 days. Just give me a couple slices. So you know how I hate meme formats?
I didn't know that you. I mean,
I fucking hate it.
You hate a lot of things.
I hate a lot of things on Twitter.
I don't know that that's a necessary clause.
Fine. The meme format beats me to high holy hell.
I like it.
I don't like that
They're fun.
I don't like the
Thank God for jokes.
homogenization of every single bit of culture, where it's like, it's kind of like we talked before.
It is a negative thing about Twitter that, like, I mean, I don't know. Whenever a well done's one pops, I'm not complaining. I mean, you were mad at the Third Amendment meme I sent you.
Well, I'm leading to a good one.
Okay, but yeah, I do agree that it would be nice if people challenged themselves a little more,
or just didn't
do
post.
Didn't post.
Yeah.
Well,
If you're gonna post
the total number of posts,
a meme format
is
post.
irrelevant because you're choosing who you follow. Like if there's too many posts, follow less people.
Yeah, it's just that I think there's too many people who
You're mad at a choose your own adventure book.
50% of the pages I turn to at the end of the R.L. Stein are original tweets, but then 50% of them are shitty meme format tweets. Like, I swear to God, the fucking handshake, I can't do that.
The handshake's overdone at this point. I hope we all can agree on that.
I can't do the handshake. I really can't do any of them because it's just, I mean, it also makes me think, like, I don't like this person. I know actually so many of them personally I do know and like
that person.
But I'm like, this is just shitty. I don't like it. But fortunately, with the quickening, not just of technology, TC, but also of the culture, you don't really have to look at them for very long.
Isn't that like a part of your fingernail, a quickening?
What?
Or the quick. I'm just thinking of the quick.
I don't even know what that is.
Isn't like the area like under the fingernail, the quick? I mean, you just said you don't know what it is. So
I don't know.
Why am I asking
I don't have a
questions
clue.
more?
I don't
know.
I know Art Bell's book, and I know when Wait But Why references it. Like the things are just happening at an exponential rate of speed. And if we apply that to memes, you probably only have like 36 hours of looking at a shitty meme format.
Okay.
It may come back.
Well, that's not true. I mean, the fucking hands thing has never left us for, it's been a year.
That's true. That one's pretty broad though.
Yeah.
But I'm speaking specifically about fall plans, the Delta variant.
Yeah. Sure.
It's already burnt out. It's already terrible. Yes, I do find solace in the fact that our society has decided to just meme through the end of the world, because that's what this is. I want to be very clear about that. To everybody watching and listening, it's fucking over. Like, whatever you thought of social cohesion or like of a life where you're not inundated with negativity, it's over. It's absolutely over. Because
can I buy you an ice cream cone or something?
Dude, think about it. Okay, you had this is where the rubber met the road. Like, because people would say, like, how are we ever going to come together on climate change when it's so far off and existential? And it's like, I kind of get that. Like, that's tough. But if it's like literally you're killing everyone if you don't pitch in here, and people are like, I'm not pitching in. I'm not sure what other evidence you need to know that if aliens came down.
I mean, more people are pitching in now than ever.
It's incrementally being forced upon them for economic factors. You are correct.
I wish that it was more, but, let's not ignore progress.
Okay, well, what I'm here to tell you is that if aliens landed today,
they already have.
It would be 40% of people would say they're not here until they are literally stabbed through the heart, Starship Trooper style. And then the news would be like, 2 weeks ago, he had posts and videos saying that the aliens are not real. But now here he lies with his brain sucked out by
Yeah, they need to
some of the
stop with
Starship
those
Troopers.
stories.
Dude. What's the point? It hasn't really helped.
It's doing a touchdown dance on the guy's grave. Like, look at this fucking dead dummy.
Yeah.
Which seems, I don't know, in poor taste to me.
But as I told you,
but also, I mean, like, I guess I don't know if it's having an impact. You know, like, who's to say what part of the, you know, would the vaccination rate be lower absent those stories? Maybe.
But
it's not. The vaccination rate is not especially close to where I would like it to be. And
there's a lot of those stories.
Yeah, you're right.
Well, I was actually just going to say the only pure version of those stories is the one I told you about, where the guy's in the hospital bed with double pneumonia, just giving the fucking bird to the CBS Denver 26 camera, like, fuck no, I'm not getting vaccinated. Why would I?
Yeah.
That's pure. So the only Delta variant meme tweet that is funny is, and this only has 2 retweets and 34 likes. This is a small account.
Okay.
And I didn't
Little
want
boutique.
It is a boutique meme
Delta
tweet.
variant meme tweet.
And it is, you're not going to be able to top this. Let me see if I can make it.
Okay.
I don't know if I can make it bigger. You might have to actually click, but you'll get the idea.
Oh no! Oh no! It's not like I know by sight who anyone in this is. I could just gather the context that. I mean, well, how I put it together is I identify the Delta variant picture first.
Yeah.
And it's looks to me like it's based on context, probably Chris Benoit.
It is, yeah. It's WCW champion Chris Benoit.
And then the fall plans is his family.
In a very touching professional photograph. Yeah, they were smiling all right. But
oh, Jake.
I didn't want to give it a wider audience because I could have given this dude the engagement he really craved.
He deserves it.
I just didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I don't even know if that's his real family. I'm going to assume it is because there were probably plenty of news stories about them from better times.
Yeah. On the one hand, it looks like a stock photo. On the other hand, there's probably something that was like a stock photo that looked like a stock photo that ran with that story. So
his family are the fall plans.
You're probably
Chris
correct.
Benoit is the Delta variant.
Oh no! Yeah,
unbeatable.
It is unbeatable. Like I have other good ones I've seen that I would want to share, but that would imply that I thought that they could possibly beat it, so I won't because I know that that's not true. I'm pissed about the county mask mandate.
Oh, okay.
I am, dude. I've done enough. Okay. And it's not that like, because I've thought this through, right? Like that's the emotional reaction that I start with, right? All of my logic is just emotional reaction and then working backwards from there to try and explain in ways that would possibly appeal to other people, because I know they won't just agree with my emotional reaction.
You are but human.
Yeah. So, I don't know, dude. I feel like people who got the vaccine, like, especially people like you and I that fucking took everything pretty fucking seriously and didn't go to restaurants and didn't go to shows and shit. And, I feel like we have done enough. And so fucking, the alternative in my mind is just vaccine, like fucking, every time you go to a restaurant, you got to show the card.
Yeah. But the problem with that is, man, what sort of 1980s shit are those cards? Like, they couldn't have given you, like, a fucking ID that scans? Like, would that have taken that much more? We already paid all the money for the...
Mine says Burleson on it, so I don't think that they... Like, I'm worried that if they went to cards, that they'd be like, this isn't real. There's no Burleson Public Health Agency. You made this shit up.
Exactly. Like, they're like, so we've been to Burleson.
Yeah.
We know.
Did not seem like a place with a robust public health agency.
But, I mean, they sell fake ones. So you're right. I mean...
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever, like, I guess you can't fake not having a mask, but, like, it doesn't have 100% enforcement anyway. Like, I think that the fake ones I've heard go for, like, hundreds of dollars. So, like, if you're willing to go on the dark web for hundreds of dollars for a fake one, like, I don't know. I think it's doing enough. I think that, so the problem that I treat as legitimate that I think that we should solve is that caseloads are going up in such a way that there are a very, very limited number of ICU beds in Dallas right now. And like, especially, I think that it's hitting the kids a lot more now.
Yeah, I think Houston ran out of the it wasn't, I don't think NICU, but I think it was like
there's the big stories.
Kid.
They had airlift a child 150 miles away from Houston, one of the most hospitaled cities in our fine country.
Probably in the world.
Yeah. I mean, literally, people from all over the world go to Houston for cancer treatment specifically. Yeah. So, I treat it as a very legitimate problem that I would like to solve. I think a fairer solution is to require vaccination proof to go to public spaces. So I think that the county judge should do that.
Don't you? I don't even know the mechanism by which you'd achieve that.
Yeah, I'm not positive that. I mean, whenever the governor is fighting him tooth and nail over doing anything, it's considerably more difficult to come up with creative solutions. Like, I don't know that there's anything in state laws that's real specific about vaccination cards. But
yeah, and that's,
whatever it is, I don't give a shit. That's for the fucking politicians to figure out.
That's right.
I'm just giving them my demands, and as my representative, they ought to get them done. That's my take. I pay your salary.
It is, I don't know. Obviously this is myopic, and it's the only way I know. But it is frustrating to me because it does obviously feel, I haven't seen like polling data on this, but it feels very much like conservatives are more likely to be unvaccinated, right?
Yeah. I've seen, today.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Today I saw a graph, just like, one axis is what percentage voted for Trump in the election. One axis is what's the vaccination rate, and it's everything you expect.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotally, that's what it is in my life. But I don't want to be too broad, but it does.
I'm here to
seem
back
that
it
way.
up with evidence. That's evidence. I saw it today.
So what's frustrating about that to me is, I think if you are center left, or all the way left, it just seems to me like a lot of times, maybe this is what imbues the party with such spinelessness and fecklessness. It seems like almost like the identity of being center left or far left is like, all right, we'll do it. We'll take care of it. Like, if you're not gonna, like, we would like to pay higher taxes, like, because you don't want to get back. All right, we'll wear a mask. You don't want to, do this. It just seems like it comes up a lot.
I'm done with that.
Well, and see, here's the funny thing about that is because I've been thinking a lot about this of how to talk to people in your life that are not vaccinated. And I don't know how to do it because at this point, and it's funny because I actually thought of this when the CEO of our company put out a video like on our internal thing about like, look, we're not going to be able to have everybody back when we thought we were. It's not happening right now. And I imagine a ton of companies are going through that. I have friends who went back and have now been sent home. And so, and her description was like, frankly, I'm angry about the state of where things are, not with our company, but with the country. It's anger. That's how I feel.
I'm also angry.
I feel like I don't want to plead because I'm angry. Like I think that's a bad emotion to come with to try to convince somebody of something because they're not going to hear you out because you're pissed off. And you're
right. Yeah. But I don't care. This
know.
is the Patreon. They're all.
I know, but
this is the time to preach to the choir.
Exactly. But what's really frustrating to me about it is from February of 2021, let's say from April when we really knew, through November election of 2021, I was wearing a mask. And I was not like, fuck this, I'm not wearing a mask because Trump is president. And if Trump had won and my vaccine became available when it did in March in the second month of his term, I absolutely still would have been vaccinated. And I just think it's more common for people who are not conservative, whatever you want to classify the rest of that as, to say, yeah, like this guy sucks. He's hateful and he's bad at his job. But of course I'm going to do what I need to do to protect myself and my family. And that makes me think that it's almost like what people have said about 2016 when it's like, man, I feel like there would have been a lot more violence if Hillary would have won. And I don't know that that's true, but I also feel like if Trump had won, the vaccination rate right now would be a lot higher because most people who have done it would have still done it. Some would have bounced on it. Maybe let's say that of the people who are vaccinated that are Democrats,
so?
maybe like a quarter of them don't.
I think it's pretty easy to. I mean, maybe by now. I think that the rollout would have taken longer because he didn't care about it.
And that's possible. I guess I'm more talking.
Was just denying the idea that there was a problem. He would just be like, it's like the flu.
Right, but by the end of it,
Like
they had done some stuff to, and I think even people
And just like he wasn't good at, governing.
But people that we respect have pointed out that, like, look, he deserves some credit for the way this went down. At least his administration does. And so I'm not necessarily talking about, I guess I shouldn't say percentage of people vaccinated as much as I would say vaccination buy-in. Like, I think it would be much, much higher.
Yeah.
Because I don't really give a fuck who the president is. If you can give it to me and it's made by one of these companies that we're paying trillions of dollars or billions of dollars, then I want to do it.
I think that you're right that, like, broadly speaking, like I said, I believe that broadly speaking, Trump voters are more likely to not have the vaccination. I don't think that the majority of people who currently aren't vaccinated are ideologues about it. I think that, they don't care that much. They haven't had like a compelling reason to. They weren't taking it seriously beforehand. So like nothing really changed for them. It's not like, for me, like whenever I got it, it's like now I'm allowing myself to go to restaurants again. With them, it's like I was going to restaurants anyways. Who gives a shit? So like, what's the fucking upside?
I think you're using the word ideologue, I think, too broadly, because I don't think ideologue entirely applies to political party. I think it applies to distrust of government. And somehow Trump represents that despite being like a fucking robber baron.
Yeah.
So I think like he just, even though he's gone and even though and then the other thing is
I just think that most people who haven't gotten vaccinated don't actually have like a super strong opinion. Like the people who are like would just fucking like you were saying on the Daily there was some lady that was screaming about it, or was it a guy? Someone was.
Yeah, there was a couple different people, and one of them, go ahead.
Well, just I'm saying that I think that those people that are like over my dead body, I think that they're a very small percentage, and I don't think that we'd be having the problems that we have if they were the only ones who hadn't gotten it.
That's true, but the lady that you're speaking about that I heard was like a granola, Denver, super fit, super yoga. Mm-hmm. Those people, I feel like, that's a small number. But I don't think that the number of people that are just completely off the deep end on anything that comes from the state must be bad unless it's Trump. I think that number is decently large. And I don't know how many, but I know a lot of them.
I mean, I think that there's a difference between like being willing to vote for him and like it's all you talk about, it's all you think about, it's your animating thing. Like just most people don't give a shit about all this stuff. Like they care considerably more about the Cowboys.
Well, then how do you square those people who don't give a shit about it being correlated to people who voted for him?
I think that the people who voted for him don't really give a shit about it. Like, they give enough of a shit to vote. And like, I think that it's a very low percentage of people that are, I mean, I don't know,
And I saw a story today that,
I guess it depends on how exactly you define it. Like I'm thinking about like I would identify my parents as, classic examples of people who generally don't give a shit about all of it. And like around the election, my dad was talking about it a lot. And like the tone of how he would talk about it somewhat surprised me because it appeared to me like he was giving a shit about it much more than normal. But I don't know if you classify him as someone who gave a shit about it. Like he said the words, and God bless him, whatever. He said the words like, I don't know if I could have done another 4 years. And like, I just can't imagine, like, if I hadn't heard him say it, it would be impossible for me to imagine that because it's not like every time I go over there, he's giving an update on politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe people are surprised, but I would still classify him in the category of, I know what topics we bring up, and it's the White Sox 100 times for every one time it's politics. So,
yeah, I wonder right now though if I don't know I couldn't have done 4 more years thing is a weird time because it dovetailed with COVID. Like I wonder if
sure.
Like let's say that in this hypothetical scenario, by April of this year, by April of 2021, 90% of the country is vaccinated. And everything is basically normal. Mm-hmm. And it's normal going forward because transmission is lower, infections are lower, and mutations are now not non-existent, but much, much less of a threat. Mm-hmm. I think that, well, obviously Trump would have been fucking touchdown dancing, and that would have pissed a lot of people off that would have said things like, I can't take 4 more years. But I also think a lot of people would have just been so relieved that they're like, I don't give a fuck. He's crazy. He's an embarrassment, but at least...
Yeah, I don't know.
But now I'm just... It's like anything, right? Like when you talk about getting good grades, like you don't want to get good grades. You just want to get like B's. So that if you pop up with an A every now and then or just keep getting B's, people are like, this is not bad. If you show up with 97s for a year...
I want to get straight A's.
Well...
That's my potential. And
you need a new normal, and it needs to be a little lower.
This is my normal, dude. I'm just
killing
that brilliant,
it.
Brilliant
They
to
call
learn.
you Ace.
That's right.
Because I did see a story today that... And I didn't read it. Just be honest with you. I just saw the story, which means I saw a tweet. Mm-hmm. That at least 3, I don't know if they termed it as Trump aides or Trump assistants, people that were in the administration have like really pled with him, like, please publicly talk about the vaccine. Like, please just, because he's had it. Mm-hmm. And, even Sean Hannity and company are out there pumping it up, and he just won't do it.
It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me either, but it's like, it's still just like, God damn, dude. Like you are so true to the core.
Yeah, no, he's not good for the country.
It's just, they're like, please, I'm telling you could save lives if you just said it's a good idea to get a vaccine.
Yeah,
it's
and
fuck out of my house.
I don't know. It's my goal for the podcast that the general tone that we take is encapsulates things like what you were starting to nod at there, I think, of like realizing the real things that are going on in people's lives that are making them arrive at these opinions. There's reasons not to trust our government. One thing that I like about following Ben Garrison and paying close attention to all of his cartoons is he is the kind of conservative that like I can squint and see it. Of like that, it's just distrust in everything. Mm-hmm. He like the conservatives that just absolutely despise the FBI, and not like just because Trump said they were bad, but like all their life have been, it's more of like a Montana style conservative, right? You're Clive and Bundy. Yeah. Because then it's like, okay, I do think that we are kind of having some agreement overlap areas on what the problem is. Yeah. I mistrust those parts of the government too. And so that kind of stuff, it really gets me it gives me a path to being empathetic towards their views. I think that kind of stuff is important. I think it's just important for like having an accurate understanding of the world, to be curious about other people who disagree with you, why they do and how they arrived at their beliefs. And, I think all that stuff's really, really valuable and everyone should embrace it in their lives. But not when it costs me the fucking chance to see fucking Beck sing Steely Dan songs the way that I could have had last week if not for that concert being canceled due to fucking COVID. And, dude, it's cost too much for us to spend this time fucking trying to get inside their head or whatever. So I don't give a shit, dude. Give them the fucking aborted baby fetuses. Shoot them straight into their arms. Hold them down and do it. I'm fucking done with it. The country has asked too much of me. I will not give any more. No more fucking masks. Like, just fucking, let's all, I don't know, man. And,
I know it sounds, nihilistic, but I mean, I'm not even like really feeling bad. I just feel like I mean, I feel overwhelmed from time to time, but like I've made peace with the fact that like there will never ever be like a peaceful day in my lifetime again when I'm looking at like the news, or like what the state of things are. Because dude, you just watched that video from Franklin, Tennessee the other night.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Apparently, it's like the wealthiest county in Tennessee, and there's a suburb, and they had a school board meeting.
You know who lives there?
Jay Cutler?
Dave Ramsey himself.
Oh, okay. I like it. Why did I think Jay Cutler was in?
He is in Tennessee. He's in Greater Tennessee. He might be in Franklin. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know which of the Nashville suburbs he's currently
unless he moved
residing
in with Tommy.
No, I don't.
It literally was nothing. It's just I'm mad about Justin Fields, so I'm lashing out.
Fair.
So you see this video, and they have a school board meeting, and
I guess he must, because I didn't know about this. I just saw Jay Cutler tweeting about a school board and was like, "What the fuck's going on?"
Well, I really hope he was not backing these people, because I would not watch it, to be honest with you. I actually found it kind of traumatic because somebody who I think was either a doctor or medical professional of some sort is speaking at the school board meeting when they're saying, look, we really should have kids in masks. If we're not going to be vaccinated, it would really help us in the medical community here locally if kids wore masks. Video picks up with that dude trying to leave in his car in the parking lot, and he's by himself, and he's surrounded by like fucking 30 people. Just like, I thought they were going to turn his car over. I mean, they're like, knocking on his window. They're yelling at him like, you can leave now, but we're going to find you. And the cops are like, eh. And at one point, one of the dudes who is yelling at the guy in the car is like, let him out, it's fine. The cops are on our side anyways. Like, you hear that shit a lot at these
you heard it at the fucking January 6th.
Exactly.
They were saying it over and over.
So I'm just having a hard time seeing how somebody watches that and is like, boy, yeah, I can map out for you a scenario where sometime in the next 2 decades, this is kind of calmed down. And like, I spend most of my time thinking about, it definitely won't be a straight state-by-state civil war. That's probably out. But like, that's not really feasible. I mean, maybe people could just leave. I mean, like... But like, even Texas, our biggest counties are all blue.
Thought and wondered, well, I don't know, dude. I mean, Texas, Biden wasn't like close, but he was in striking distance.
Right.
No, the Cutler tweet, here's what the full tweet says. It's a picture of the Williamson County Schools Board of Education members, and it says, doing school board research looks like a 2024 campaign for me. What does that mean? Was the school board in favor of the mask mandate?
Without watching the actual, meeting, I think they were at least hearing it out.
Okay, so I don't know if he's mad or not at the school board. I mean, it seems like he's mad at the school board. I just don't, because he's saying that he's doing the campaign. But I'm open to the idea, the possibility. Oh, okay, here we go. He's retweeted someone else making a fake campaign sign for him. He did it approvingly, and it says, "Smoking Jay Cutler for school board, trash the mask."
Okay, so I think you know where this is headed.
So now it does seem like he's on.
I love it.
On the bad side.
The update for this is that the guy who, if you end up subjecting yourself to the video, the guy who's the loudest and is really screaming, he doesn't appear to be that old. He appears to be like 40. And he's I really thought he was going to pull this guy out of his car. He doesn't even have kids.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, it's insane. Like, what? Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is that when people are that fired up about something, boy, I don't know.
I mean, if I was going to give you a roadmap for it getting better, Trump's going to leave it sometime. It doesn't seem like...
Yeah, then you get into the legacy of,
whenever Mitt Romney was running, this wasn't that big of an issue.
I mean, I think
there were its own problems, but this sort of like tone, the general temperature level of the discourse was vastly different.
I would pay a substantial fee to have binders full of women be our biggest problem just next week.
Yeah,
just that alone. I mean, it's not to get too far into like too much of political science type talk, but I think the biggest question is like, what is his lasting impact? Yes, he's going to be gone. Yes, he's going to die.
I mean, it depends on how the people who take up his mantle,
Yeah.
if it turns out that people like Josh, like if Josh Hawley fucking sweeps in and like is able to, even build on the Trump things that Trump has done, then, it's going to be very bad. But like, it seems to me like it's not an electoral slam dunk to ape his tactics. Like, he's a pretty singular guy. Like, he was one of the most famous people on the planet before he did any of this. And that seems to help quite a bit.
He'd been on Stern.
Other politicians have not been on Stern and probably won't be invited.
So that's why this Dan Crenshaw video is interesting to me. You've probably all seen it, but
you want me to play it?
Yeah, sure. Okay. It's Dan Crenshaw at a fundraiser last night this is in his backyard.
When I saw, give me a second.
Yeah.
When I saw this video, the replies on the one I saw, it included a map of his district, which I had seen many times before.
It's remarkable.
But noticed for the first time, pretty sure he's the representative for the property that used to be the Excel Academy.
Oh, it just makes too much sense.
Yeah.
Don't kid yourself into believing that's why we lost. It's not.
That's Crenshaw talking.
You're wrong.
I'll tell you openly.
You're wrong.
And I'm not wrong.
Yes, you are. I have plenty of proof. I have proof in Arizona, Pennsylvania, and Georgia.
You did the Maricopa.
Yeah.
How did that turn out?
And guess what? It's going to turn out and it's going to flip.
Guess what?
That's
never a good spot to be in the debate, right?
Yeah.
I just don't think you have any solid points when guess what comes up. But this man is undeterred.
You watch. You're gonna see.
And you've got to flip all 5 states to make it.
You know how they're stealing the elections?
All right, I'm not going to do this. It's just something. Look, I'll say it openly. This is something you got to accept. Is there a lot of voters?
He is right.
Probably is. I don't think Trump won. No, absolutely
He's
not.
right.
You'll see.
Yeah, dude, they love it. You'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not. 5 different states,
Yes.
hundreds of thousands of votes.
Yes.
Kidding yourself.
Next question.
Okay.
I wanted much more.
Yeah. So, but the interesting thing that relates to what you were saying is like, are these people going to get primaried?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of easy for me. Like, it depends on the day about whether or not I think that Democrats will never hold any power again in the rest of the country's history, or whether Republicans will. Because I really, depending on the day, I can talk myself into both pretty easily. Like the way that redistricting is going to go, the fact that Manchin and Sinema seem pretty dead set against doing anything to solve any of the myriad of problems that face the idea of representative democracy in this country.
What a fucking odd way to become the 2 most important people in the world.
Yeah,
it's really quite frustrating.
It's common enough. Like,
John McCain.
Yeah, like Joe Lieberman had the outsized impact on the ACA. But like, I saw a tweet. I think it was from a former AOC chief of staff. Just being like, future historians are going to be blown away by Democrats being in power during the time that during the era when it made it so they could never have a majority again. Like, once we're counting down the days to the time when like all the redistricting stuff, like you can't go back, like once all those like maps and everything are locked in, like you can challenge them in court or whatever, but you can't pass a law that says, hey, this law goes into effect 6 months ago.
Well, you'll probably have the court soon, right?
No, probably not in our lifetime.
Oh, that's Stan.
So, it just, there's a firm timeline on if they're going to do anything about gerrymandering, the gerrymandering that's going to affect us for the next 10 years. And so, the inaction on that is staggering. But on the other hand, you kind of wonder if they're just if the Republicans are going to eat themselves with this sort of shit. And the other thing from the census that was going around today is just, a lot of people are moving out of rural counties, as they have been for the entire history of the country.
Yeah.
And that's,
You'd hope.
all those tides will intermingle, and I guess we'll see how it goes. And I don't know. Who gives a shit about government anyways?
I know one man who does, and he had a big day today. Now, this is the intro song that played, and I didn't believe this at first, but apparently this is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
So this played at Mike Lindell, a.k.a. My Pillow Guy, or as I heard him referred to today by someone who shall remain nameless, QAnon Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer was the Undertaker's manager, and I don't know why it never occurred to me that Mike Lindell looks exactly like Paul Bearer. But he had a symposium today. They actually labeled it the Technology Symposium.
I love it.
Which sounds like something
love that they use symposium.
It sounds like something that Uncle Rico and Kip would have hatched. Like,
God, yes.
Hey, I'll tell you what, man, we're gonna have a goddamn technology symposium, man.
Sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, so they got the little Garth Brooks Central Park headsets on, but before they could come out and present all their evidence, which apparently they didn't know that the suits that were like proceeding had already been, like, that story broke, I think, this morning. Like they're getting sued. Mm-hmm. And that is moving ahead.
Oh, yeah. The thing that broke this morning was the judge ruling on whether or not the lawsuits could continue. You know, like first the judge says like whether or not you do have a suit here.
Right.
And so it's not, you know, it's certainly not like a finding of guilt or innocence. But I was reading some excerpts, and it seemed like it was written by a man who had some pretty strong contempt for the arguments that Sidney Powell and Mike Lindell and Rudy Giuliani were advancing.
Yeah, so you may be just saying to yourself, maybe we'll call this thing off. Maybe I got egg on my face. You could do that
needs to save the cash.
Or you could come out to this beautiful auto-tuned intro song.
Not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Not a bad thing. It's a good thing.
The county has refused to produce the network routers. We want the routers, Sonny. The county refused to produce the network routers. When do we gotta get those routers, please? Get up! If you think about cancel, everything about cancel culture, they want cancel culture. But what they don't want to do is anything having to do with the 2020 election.
Okay, so right. Well, we got in there. We got the crazy COVID preacher.
Yeah, that was an excellent get up.
Get up. Yeah, we got Biden as Drake from the
Hotline Bling.
The Hotline Bling. Yeah, mixed in with Kenneth Copeland. Of course, the router rant, which I've been listening to almost every day. Mm-hmm, it's just so good.
Yeah, it is good.
And then kind of a like West Coast Dr. Dre type vibe, you know?
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Whether he's producing for Snoop or Tupac, it's not the direction I would have expected them to go, and it's actually
works.
Pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So I found out today. Well, I found out some months ago that Mike Soroy. Mike Soroy, his mom is obviously very into things like Mike Lindell.
I haven't seen her tweet about it in a while. Did I unfollow her because I decided I couldn't handle myself responsibly?
And Vida is a sweetheart of a person, but we all know that as people get older, sometimes they maybe get a little bit into the deep end of the political waters.
Yeah, no, my family has an age cutoff.
Yeah. So this was we were talking about this because we were talking about the symposium this morning, and Justin was in there, and Mike was like, yeah, I told Jake this. He sent me a picture last time he was in Florida of her book stack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Dan Bongino,
mm-hmm.
and it's Tucker Carlson. It's everything you would expect. And then
I think I'm going to buy a book about Jean-Benet Ramsey.
You should.
Going to read it.
Okay.
Come back with some facts for you.
You should. Mike Lindell's book was at the top of the list.
Hell yeah.
It's called What Are the Odds? From Crack Addict to CEO. And what was funny about it was Mike was like, yeah, and there's like a hologram on the cover. I was like, fuck, what? He's like, yeah, if you turn the cover of the book, you get like several different pictures of Mike Lindell. I'm like, what the fuck?
Beautiful.
So then I tried to find the book.
Uh-huh.
They sell a copy of it that just has a regular cover with no hologram.
How much does that cost?
But it will only ship to correctional facilities.
Is that true? I don't understand.
They have a copy specifically for correctional facilities.
They're not allowed to have holograms
I
there?
guess not.
It'll just get them too fired up. They won't know what kind of black magic it is. We'll be rioting within 10 minutes. They get the Mike Lindell hologram.
I swear to
God,
God,
the boys
dude.
won't know what to do with it.
I looked it up, and it's true. There's a version that if you turn, his face changes, and there's a version where it doesn't. And see, it says here right now, from crack addict to CEO. This is on Amazon for correctional facility shipping only in all caps. I'm like, what the? This is all so insane. Okay, why do we know this guy's name? I don't know.
I have a hot take. I want to expound upon, have a little conversation. I assume that'll probably take us out of time. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
I think advertising should be illegal.
I have no comment on the matter. That's the end of my conversation.
Okay, I don't mean about like you specifically, dude. I'm not trying to like fuck anything up for you. I don't mean what I like the concept of it as you're driving. Can you talk about billboards?
I can listen to you talk about billboards.
You don't sell billboards. No, okay, I'll start talking, and if you feel comfortable at any point, you can hop in. I'm not trying to attack you or make anything bad for you. I also make money off of advertising.
Cryptic.
But it will remain so. I don't know. It's something I've been thinking a lot about over the last couple months of what it is an attempt to control your attention. Like, it's literal mind control.
Yep.
And it's obviously effective. Like, not necessarily in getting you to do what they want you to do, but just like think about how many commercials you know. And like just your space in your brain, it's precious, you know? Like, what are we but our fucking thoughts? And like the things, our experiences from moment to moment is like just, what's going on. Our life is our brains, and our life is being taken from us constantly all of the fucking time. Is there an hour? Certainly it's more than once an hour on average. Because, I guess maybe sometime you've been on a camping trip or something. It is really pernicious in my mind, and it's the kind of thing where there's no way to solve it any other way. Like I can start to see how there's a real backlash to. I mean, like it's government intrusion in a very large way. I could see like it seems like the kind of thing that would like kick up conspiracy theories behind it. Definitely any politician like proposed a federal ban on advertising would. I don't know how that would go or not. I mean, I assume that most people don't like it, but I don't know.
I can tell you exactly.
I assume
how
most
it would
people
go.
don't like medical bills, and that hasn't been great.
Yeah, and for the same reason, right? That their coffers. I think that's only used in the political space.
Yeah.
Is that one does that count? As like this is only used in one way? Because I was thinking about that the other day when I heard someone using the word the Mavericks brass. I'm like, that's only sports teams.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I ever
maybe
hear
other companies.
police. Like I don't know that you ever hear like
police chief could be top brass.
Yeah, I mean that's literal brass.
Yeah.
Or at some point probably was.
They're made out of flesh, blood, and water, as far as I know.
Well, I mean the fucking.
I know. I think it's made of copper.
Copper? Is copper brass?
I don't know. I don't know if it's made of copper, and I don't know if copper is brass.
I just feel that this attack on advertising is really inappreciative. The day after I played the Jungle Cruise Applebee's ad for you, that my understanding was kind of made your day.
I don't know, dude. That if anything, I don't know. You're right. I did enjoy the Jungle Cruise Applebee's ad quite a bit.
There's no way you could have found a better 30 seconds to put in your brain at that exact moment. You're talking about
I'd like the opportunity.
Resources.
I'd like the opportunity. I feel like the Jungle Bees Applebee's Jungle Bees. I am just going to call it the Jungle Bees ad. The Jungle Bees ad.
I would go there.
It's not making us better. It's not making us smarter.
obviously, it's kind of what our economy is founded on. Just the idea of
but
brand
if it were
awareness.
a playing field, it wouldn't be a problem. Or if it were an even playing field, it wouldn't be a problem. It's not like the economy would go away. People would have the same amount of money. They would spend it on stuff still. And the thing I'd worry about a backlash is I don't trust the companies to, like, if it just did get passed tomorrow, I guess I'd be interested in what exactly would happen, because I don't think that they would just lay down and stop trying to appeal to customers.
Well, of course not. And again, it would never be, but you're saying if it were passed. But I mean, I guess sometimes I think, like, how bad is it really when it's commercial? When it's like government stuff, I think it's quite odd. But for example, I've tried out a bunch of different computers between at work and buying them on my own. And the Apple the Apple products I've used work the best. They work the best for the shit I want to do, and they have since I started buying them.
I agree.
They also have the most pervasive ad campaigns when it comes to computers, or at least they did for a while. And so the fact that they made the best product meant they had the most to spend on their ad budget, and somewhat cyclically, it it kind of worked out, right? Like, I don't think if fill in the blank computer company tomorrow started spending literally 20 times as much from Apple on ad campaigns, I really don't think a year from now my mind would be changed on this. And I didn't really...
It's not. I'm not talking about the effectiveness of the ads. I'm not talking about the influence on the purchasing decision. I'm not talking about, like, them being, like, achieving their intent. I'm just saying, like, how much of your life has been spent considering the idea of auto insurance compared to what it would be if advertising were banned. Like, I see a Geico ad every fucking day of my life. I don't need to think about fucking auto insurance at all. Insurance for fucking anything.
The rapping duck, though.
It's just all this shit's constantly in our head. We don't have a fucking second to ourselves without, like, some fucking billboard, radio advertisement, podcast advertisement, TV advertisement. And it's like it's taking over our mind. It is mind control. It's fucked up, dude. And, like, we're all so used to it, and we can't imagine a world without it. And so we're going. I'm certainly 100% chance I'm going to live in a world with it for the rest of my life. But it's something, a switch flipped in me. I don't even remember when. It was a couple months ago of, like, I was just sitting there and I was trying to do whatever. Like, I think I was having, like, a good thought. Like, I was really, enjoying, I was vibing out.
And then you heard, what's up?
Yes. And I'm like, get out of my fucking head.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's not that I disagree with you. It's just that but
no one talks about this shit. We're the first podcast in history that has proposed banning advertising.
Probably.
And it's a constant problem that affects everyone.
Yeah, especially when they're, on the sidebar over there pouring lotion into a cup and being like, don't you want to cummy more? And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You blew my whole vibe here. I don't really know how to say this without just sounding like, I guess it's kind of been the theme of the whole podcast, but, like, I'm just fucking here for the ride now. Like, I'm here to basically live in 1998, and everything is bloated, and it's it's everything. Like, I'm here for the Black Mirror Idiocracy mashup, because it's not going to change. So it's like, I mean, I see this with my kid, like, trying to control somewhat the messaging that they receive. And again, that's just like read a single book about, like, media critical theory, and everybody will tell you you're crazy if you're like, they'll say, like, well, see, she wants to be a princess. So you say you weren't going to tell her, like, oh, princess, she wants to be a princess. I'm like, you think she wants to be a princess innately? Or do you think it's that 90% of the fucking shows that we watch, even Sesame Street has a kid who wears a tutu?
Yeah.
It's like, you realize how inundated with messaging you are as an adult. So what about whenever somebody's brain is at a very formative time? You have no shot. You have no control. I halfway feel like I'm detached from parenting because I am a very small percentage of what goes in her brain, and the rest of it are mediated messages, largely from people trying to sell things. She knows when to say, it's a commercial. Seriously. Like, if we have something on that stops every 10 minutes, she's like, now the good news is she hates him. She's like, get this off.
But that's not the good news. Like, That's just like these. You should not have to deal with these nuisances all this time. Like I don't know. It would obviously demand an end to the funding model that most of our media is engaged in, but like I don't view that as a bad thing.
Well, I mean, for me,
I'm not sure it would make things better. Like I assume that it's not like that would make it so that news was actually independent. The number of times in my life that I've had to spike stories because the advertiser wanted us to is higher than zero. And I whatever dynamic that is, I'm sure like whatever, other way that people then made money. I mean, I don't know. It would be better for everyone to switch to a subscriber model, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have a decent amount of disposable income, I guess, but I feel like I have a pretty large media bill every month and I use just about all of it. And if I don't use it, and I check my little spreadsheet, I will cancel it. But I mean, it doesn't bother me. Now, the problem is that a lot of websites and a lot of content where you pay for, you still get ads.
Yeah.
Which I find that to be a bit underhanded at best. But, this is what it is, man. So, remember when they had like 3 frogs? And they were on different, like lily pads.
What'd they say?
Well, it was a beer company. So they would just sound out the syllables of the beer company, and I mean that shit was incredible. In fact, what
about the mosquito in the pizza?
Oh man, that makes me want to put Tabasco on some pizza right now. In fact, what we need to do is this: if this, authoritarian, draconian law that you're proposing passes, we do need to have spaces like museums where you can go visit.
Okay. I'll happily include amendment to the bill that makes federal money for an advertising museum.
Like, I promise you, it would be the most popular.
You could still search them out if you want to watch it on YouTube and you choose to, that's okay.
No, it has to be more than that. It has to be on the mall. It has to be like Smithsonian.
Okay.
It has to be right next to
we can do that too.
Space and okay, so you go in and it's just like that. Like it's almost like a hologram, like a display right there. Mm-hmm. It's on a big and it's playing on a loop and maybe there's a guide who's telling you like, so this is the man who was like frogs could make the noise. I want that. I want that badly.
You can have that either way. We're willing to allow you that. If that's the only thing you're bargaining for, it's an easy yes for us.
The Geico's got a whole wing.
Okay.
Cavemen?
Dude, turn all of DC into an advertising museum for all I give a shit. I'm just saying
I would move there. I would be a greeter. That's like actually the happiest I can imagine myself being. Look at all these fine folks joining me today to reminisce some of the greatest ads of the last 30 years. That would make me really happy.
Our tension in our minds are being constantly attacked and no one says anything about it. And this podcast is ready to put an end to it.
I'm not.
And I would like to end by congratulating you on being correct about me ever getting back to the point about my memory. We'll see you next week, folks.
That's it for tonight. The high school special is next, so until tomorrow, for everyone who's been a part of this one, I'm TC and Jake. We do thank you for watching. Good night.